I'm bringing back the Backlog Builder. If you haven't really paid attention to my Patreon, the Backlog Builder was a tier that allowed my largest patrons to get me to watch or read or things. I kept it up for a good 5 months, 6 months. But I ended up stopping it because I wasn't getting very many requests, and you'll notice this is the first one to actually show up on this channel. The reason being, for previously I would only just write a paragraph on the post before I did the next poll or request or whatever. And this time I restarted it with the promise of making a video. 9 times out of 10 it's going to be like this, just a side channel vlog of me discussing the thing. Though in the past, I read Narutaru and The Climber, and both of those I was like, hey, maybe I can make a video on this. And then I didn't. But, maybe, that's the kind of, I thought those were things that were interesting enough that I could make a video on, I just never did. And I'm also trying to be more, if you're curious about putting in your input on what kind of things I want to, because, I put up a poll a while ago where I had, here's 5 things I kind of want to make. Which ones are you, my patrons, most interested in seeing? And that allows me to sort of gauge interest. So if you have interest in pushing me to read or watch something, notice I didn't say play. That's because video games are weird, and I do want to know kind of how long is the thing, how much time am I going to spend on this thing? So to start off, this was, and there's also a vote involved. So, even if you suggest a thing, I only do one thing a month, and that thing is voted on. Also, you'll notice that, this is a part of a series, this is just part of Hajime no Ippo. So I am also doing longer things, but in chunks. So basically, so for April, I did some, free ones for some people who remained patrons, basically. So some of them didn't respond. The idea being, you stayed my patron, and so I'm going to, I'll just do this thing and do the video for free, basically. Where some other people lowered their patrons or whatever. Or in one case, there was an exception, but So yeah, for April, the free ones that I was asked to do was a run of Moon Knight, the Marvel hero, I don't know, anti-hero, I suppose would maybe be more accurate. I'm not super familiar with the character, but from what little I've heard, that one will be the next video. This one just happens to be the one I did first, which was the first 25 episodes of Hajime no Ippo. And I'm not quite sure how I'll do long ones going forward, because, there's an issue. What if I want to watch more Ippo? Right now, I have so many other things I need to do that I'm kind of fine with putting off Ippo for a little while, even though I also left off in the middle of, an arc, a fight, or build up to a fight, rather. So I'm just, part of me is shit. I kind of want to, it's maybe I'll just, watch ahead, and then if it wins the poll, I'll watch the rest and do the video, or something like that. I don't know what I'll do. So if you're interested in having me do a video like this on something you want me to do, consider patroning. If you're on the $10 tier, then you'll get the option to do a pick. It'll go into a poll for the first one. I'll start it towards the end of April, and I'll have all of May to read or watch the thing and do a video like this on it, or even a full analytical video if I have enough to say. Though that one will also still be patroned. These are just side channel stuff, so it's free. But so yeah, do consider that. Anyway. Hajime no Ippo, I have been, I've known about it for a while as a sport thing, and I'm finally watching it, and it's good, and I like it. I knew, bits and pieces here, but mostly from, way later in the manga, because there was a thing, apparently, where people thought it was ending, but it wasn't, and, Vindy did a whole video on his channel ranting about, why people who think it's ending are dumb and wrong, and then surprised it didn't end, it's still ongoing, and what do you know? But yeah, I went in with the anime, because that was what I was asked to do, though, I'll definitely read the manga, but I'm glad I'm watching the anime because I like it. It's got a good production. It there was some really good sakuga, especially in one episode, with, I think it was just Miyata fighting or was it Takamura? No, it wasn't Takamura's. Well, there's a few good looking moments. But, one thing I was aware of going in because what it talked about, everyone, a lot of my friends are super into Ippo, and I'm just the only one who's hasn't touched it. But what was talking about the sound design, and so there were a couple of towards the end there was Miyata's fight against Mashiba, and the cracking sounds that they used to show that his leg was in pain. They hurt to listen to, because I'm just I don't want that. Ow. Or another one was in, was when Hajime was fighting Ippo, or was it Ippo? Or was it I don't know. And there was like a, to represent like his, they even said acceleration, like his speed, it sounded like the base of that sound was a car, like car noises. So that was kind of fun and interesting. It looks visually like it's like one of the later like Cell animated TV series. Like it came out in it's weird because it came out in the year 2000. Like it started in 2000, but you'd think like there isn't that much of a gap between like 2000 and the 90s, and that's what, because when I think of 90s, I think of like Cowboy Bebop, I think of Infinite Revice, I think of these Cell anime with like overall like not very saturated colors, and Ippo looks like that. But when I think about the 2000s, I think about the early digital era. I think of like the really bright color, like Aria the animation, where it's just got these really bright colors, and as they're figuring out how to do digital stuff. So it's just like, yeah, there isn't a big difference, and there shouldn't be, like I said, between 2000 and 1999. But the fact that it's just a weird just thing in my brain of just my preconceptions. But yeah, I guess to talk about my thoughts on it so far is Ippo he's like immediately like, yeah, the show is immediately like kind of like endearing and engaging. Like I found it relatively easy to watch. Like it's just pretty easy to binge, I would say. Like something about, I don't know if it's the pacing or just like the combination of that and the content, but it just really like quick. Oh, also the first 3 episodes were only like 20 minutes and there was no opening or ending, so I was like, wait, it's over already? Like that happened a lot, where it just felt like it just ended until I got more into it and started to really like recognize the pace of it. And it's like, okay, now it feels like it's gonna end, and then the episode would end, or it hit a midpoint. But yeah, I guess like, Ippo is definitely good, like as a character, I mean, but the one who is standing out, like, but I've definitely like paying more attention to some of the other ones, like Miata. Like at the start, he's in the same gym as Ippo, but he's mentioned as this sort of like, he's this talented, he came up, his father was also a super notable boxer. Like, even when they're sparring, he does the Rikishi thing where the bell rings and he stops his punch, and he does that later on against Mashiba, and drawing more further attention to the fact that he's this kind of like boxing, relative to the newcomer main character, like veteran character, and also rival. Because I did find out, it shouldn't have been a surprise. Well, it wasn't really a surprise, but the author of Ippo is a big fan of Ashino Joe, which I've read twice now. And I have heard, like, we did a whole, on the podcast I did with on Ashino Joe, he even talked a bit about how Hajime no Ippo sort of, like, responds to some of, like, Ashino Joe's conflict, which I think is interesting, and I'll be curious about that when I get to it later. But mostly, what I noticed now was just that kind of, like I said, the reference drawing, attention to Miata. And, yeah, the fact that, he started out in the gym and he's sort of like, yeah, as this rival character, I thought it was kind of interesting because he's got all this like baggage and this like all these expectations pushed on him. Like everyone expects him to be great, and he's just kind of, he's like rolling with it, and he's, and now of course he wants to fight Ippo, who gave him his first defeat, even though he's like I can't believe Ippo betrayed its theme of hard work beating talent when a boxer who'd been boxing for like 4 months defeats the guy who's been working hard since he was 4 years old. No, that was a joke. All the characters work hard. Like even like Hayami, who's like this character who you'd think, oh yeah, he's a, like they even draw attention to like, oh yeah, he's like really confident and cocky, and like a journalist even says like, oh yeah, he's the type of person who people like these usually like corners on the basics, but Hayami wasn't doing that. Like they specifically drew attention to that. So I did get spoiled. Like, oh my god, it's so surprising that Miata lost to Mashiba. But like, what told me that the one of the things he doesn't like about the manga is the blue balls, where like everyone knows that Ippo versus Miata is going to be the final match, and so I'm like, well, I have a feel, from what I've heard, Miata isn't going to fight Ippo in the last match of the Rookie King tournament, and he didn't. It was still, like, the outcome in the fight was still really good, but as far as just personal expectations, like, I'd been spoiled, basically, so, oh well. I'm still looking forward to the actual conclusion of Ippo versus Mashiba, but, like, I guess what's standing out to me the most about Ippo, aside from that, like, it looks good, it sounds good, it feels good, it feels real, it feels like you're really getting punched to know that, I don't know what it's like to be punched, so I can't even say. but yeah, like the more minor antagonists, like I think it especially hit me with Jason Ogata. I think it was Ogawa, who's the black guy. And like, you know, they build up to him being really scary, and when he's mad he is really scary, but he's also just the nicest dude. Like, holy shit, like he was farting like, oh no, in his broken Japanese, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, Japanese voice actor pretending to do broken Japanese, and he's like, oh no, I'm sorry I hurt you. And then he goes out and like his the wife, I think she was like the wife of the coach, he calls him mama, or maybe it's his like I forget, but she's like fixing the sandbags that he breaks because he's too strong, and he's like, no, I'll help you, I'm the one breaking them, like he's about to sew himself. And I'm like, how is he such a good boy? How is he such a good boy? And I'm like, and again, from this same conversation, from what he talks about how, like, you know, it's hard to root for either of the two fighters, and at first it's like, what, because they're both shitty? And it's like, but it's no, it's because they're both good. And I'm like, yeah, Ippo is a good boy, you know, he's just this oaf who just likes boxing, and but then he's up against Jason, who's the nicest student. I'm like, oh shit. And probably the one that caught me off guard was in this last episode I watched was with Mashiba, where we've seen him since, you know, Ippo got his license, you know, a dozen or so episodes ago, and he's like, well, you know, he's this kind of mean, brutish, cocky, like, you know, he's a bitch. But then he defeats Miyata, and it's like, oh shit, okay. Like, Ippo fucking got mad and punched the vending machine, which goes back to the line, like, with the bullies, they're like, oh ho, did you become a boxer to get revenge on us? And then he got his license back, and he's like, I didn't become a boxer for a petty reason like revenge. But then he got angry about Mashiba with Miyata, him, like, beating, you know, injuring Miyata, and then and also stripping away his chance to fight Miyata again. So it's like, is Ippo, you know, gonna have to, you know, be challenged by his old words again? But that's going forward. But then we find out that the girl Ippo's been interested in since literally like less than 10 episodes in is Mashiba's sister, and she's not a fan of boxing. Their parents died, so he's been like, because like he's always been this angry kid who can't hold a job because he looks mean, and he's temperamental, so therefore he's gonna start problems eventually. So they'd conspire and get him fired, so he can't hold a real job, but he can box, and so that's like the only way he could potentially like support their small family. And like, so he's you know, the world has decided he's a piece of shit, so yeah, he'll be an even worse like he's even leaning into the fact that he, like, you know, he stepped on Miata's foot, which I don't even know. I'm not even 1% sure if it was an accident or not, because, like, you know, everyone, like, Miyata said it was an accident. So maybe it's just being nice. I'd have to rewatch the fight. But it's, you know, Mashiba might leaning into the fact that, like, you know what, people are just gonna say I'm shit. So yeah, I did it on purpose. Fuck you. Like, God. And of course, his sister doesn't, like, you know, she recognizes that boxing isn't a sustainable career. Like we're already seeing it with Takamura. He was like, oh yeah, I'm just a little punch drunk. If you read Hajime no Joe, you know it's not that small a deal. And like, you know, we saw her, like, she's always like, she never looks happy when she goes to the boxing matches, because, you know, how is boxing fun? And this was literally within like maybe 2-3 minutes of like seeing it. All this is like characterization for Mashiba is established, and it just completely recontextualizes him in a great way. And I'm like, okay. Maybe I'll really love this series when I get to the because I'm gonna read the manga eventually. I've got more Bleach. It's become a meme that I've been saying I'm gonna do Bleach content for like over a year now. Like, hold on, that was the second series we read on the Nen show, and now we're on series number 8. Fuck. Oh my god, I didn't even realize that we did it before One Piece. That's right, and I still haven't done anything. So yeah, but Ippo's, you know, it'll be a relatively quick read, but it's still like what, 1,200 chapters plus now. So yeah, I basically I've only gotten the taste. I don't know how many chapters the first 25 episodes is apps. It's no more than like maybe, well, if I assume 2 chapters, then it's like 50 episodes, but it might be a little bit more. So, or 25 episodes to 50 chapters, you know. Maybe a few more chapters. But yeah, I guess another thing I like about how it handles the antagonists is like they aren't they aren't like definitely like, oh, quote unquote, the bad guy. Like, you know, even Mashiva, where he's taking himself to, like, he's making himself the bad guy in a way, but even then it's like there's still like understandable and legitimate reasons as to why he's doing it. And, you know, so like, you know, all the guys Ippo beat so far with like Hajime and Jason and Kobashi is like, you know, they're still getting applause and stuff as they leave. You know, like they may have lost the battle, but in some ways, like they're still like with Kobashi in particular, he like his coach it was like, yeah, you're not one of the kinds of people who will ever have good punches or the best possible punches. So yeah, we'll just focus on you know, winning by points and stuff, and it made him disliked as a boxer. But then he ultimately, like, and yeah, he might have beaten Ippo with that, but when he got that satisfying hit off on Ippo, the first one he's like actually had, he's like, you know, he wants to do it again, and then like him, you know, trying more, yeah, he loses because he got in Ippo's level, you know, or where Ippo plays best, but he also earned the respect of his coach that way. And it's like, you know, yeah, maybe you can be strong, you can be stronger, like, yeah, it's satisfying and it's good. And yeah, it's a fun time. I'd probably give it like an 8 right now. Lightish 8, decent 8. You know, it's good. It's fun to watch, and I'll you know, likely watch more because it's a popular series. So I imagine it'll be doing well on the patron polls. So yeah, if you want to vote for it, become a patron and get ready to like even $1. You don't have to be $10 you don't have to be like a $10 patron to vote. You just have to be a $10 patron to choose what's on the poll. But yeah, I'm looking forward to more if I ever get around to, or if you know, the poll ever gets around to it. This one was kind of shorter than I was expecting, but at the same time, it's only like a fraction of the. Well, like, are there other things I could talk about? Like, there's a lot of little moments I like just, you know, some of the humor and the character interaction stuff. Some that hasn't aged well. Like, there was a joke where Ippo like falls and grabs Miata and then Takamura makes a joke about him being gay, and then suddenly everyone's like super avoidant of Ippo. It's just this really like I'll say it, homophobic joke, and it's just like kind of like, I'm not a fan. You know, it's 80s, like what this would have been early, like late 80s or early 90s. You know, just dated. In the humor way, like you know, dated is usually a bad word, but like this is definitely like, yeah. And I think there was another moment like that I'm forgetting. That just, you know, kind of rubbed me a little the wrong way. But most of it, yeah, like I said, like the characters are fun and, you know, stupid. So yeah, I guess that about covers it. I don't have anything more to say in my notes. I guess as far as alternate video or other video, like, yeah, I'm already getting ideas for a video. It wouldn't be like a specific, like, oh, let's talk about the one theme or this handful of themes or this one character and or whatever, and how, or this one arc. I would maybe consider doing like literally like, why not talk about every fight? Because so far the fights have been like, I can maybe explain it in like one decent sized paragraph. So I was thinking about, like Ippo, blow by blow, where I just talk about, like, after I read the manga, just do, like, maybe it's long manga, so it'd probably be, like, 2 or 3 parts. Just talk about every fucking fight. Why not? Just a random idea I had that might not happen, but, I'm sure, hopefully someone would want to see it. It's, like I said, popular series, so, but anyway, yeah, let me know, especially patrons, let me know what you think of the one obligatory video. Like I said, this one was shorter than I expected, but, yeah, I guess that's how it goes.